In this video, I want to talk about someone that sent me a cold DM that I've been really impressed by. I'm going to break down why I'm really impressed. There's this guy named Steven, as you can see on my screen. He sent me some DMs dating back to like 2022. So it's been a couple years now. He's clearly kind of been following me in my ecosystem. He's never really asked for something. He asked for a job to join the team, whatever. I probably was posting something about hiring back then. Outside of that, right, he had responded to a tweet I had about a tool that I was building that he'd want to use. Um, you know, and then he reached out about kind of potentially becoming a client of my LinkedIn growth service, etc. So I've got a little bit of history with this guy. Nothing's really kind of panned out just yet, but he's been following me the whole time. I think that's, quick pause. I think that's a really important piece I want to notate is when you are sending cold outreach, make sure that you're engaging with the person, whether you're DMing them or commenting, and make sure that you follow. He's been doing all that. I recognize his name and his face through some of the comments and the likes on my post. He's obviously DM'd me, as I mentioned, and he's also been following me. But really, what stood out to me was kind of these, DMs that he had sent me in April of 2024. And basically, what he said is, "I made a free thumbnail for your last podcast episode. Do you like this style?" So, for context, I do a weekly podcast episode. I'm pretty lazy with it, and this goes on the podcast players as well as YouTube. So he specifically made a thumbnail for the YouTube. To date and historically, the thumbnail has just been whatever the screen capture was of myself and my co-host. I'm very lazy, very little effort, and obviously, as we all know, thumbnails and titles and descriptions, all of the presentation and the packaging of the YouTube videos is super important for the algorithm and the search, etc. And I know I'm very mindful that I'm being lazy and kind of half-assing it. So he had reached out. He didn't sell me anything. He just basically didn't ask if he could do this for me. He just reached out with value. I made a thumbnail for your last episode. One, it shows that he actually engages and listens to my content. Two, he took the initiative, right? He just slid into my DMs, adding a lot of value. And what he actually created was quite good. So he created this kind of thumbnail for this video. And essentially, right, this was about Cardinal Mason, who I do the podcast with. He bought a Ferrari at 24. Cool thumbnail, looks great. He didn't ask me for anything. It was great. So he delivered a ton of value. And, I'm busy. A lot of people are busy. I end up using this, right? I didn't pay him for it. He did it for free. And I said, "Hey, that's cool. Are you sure I can use it?" He goes, 100%. And then he proceeded to say, "I'll make a next thumbnail for you as well. Let me know when it goes out, whatever." And I go, "By the way, they normally go out on Thursdays and Fridays. I need to try to remember." So he goes, "Sounds good. I'll follow up with you next week on Wednesday." So again, he knows that I'm busy. He's going out of his way to understand when episodes go live and when they're filmed and they're recorded. So that way he can be proactive. That way he can get me the thumbnail ahead of when the next video goes live. So I go, "Appreciate you. Thank you." Again, he's done such a great job of adding value and building rapport that we're continuing the dialogue. So he actually followed up on Tuesday, which was a day earlier than he said. So he said he was going to follow up on Wednesday. He did it 24 hours earlier. So he kind of under promised and over delivered. That's a super important thing for me. I didn't have to remind him. I honestly forgot about this. So the fact that he followed up was great. So I said, "Hey, you're the man." I sent him a screenshot of the kind of the high level notes of the conversation. And then I sent him the raw footage. So beautiful. We'll work on it right away. And then, right, 24 hours later, he delivered another thumbnail, right? And the quality was really, really good. So mind you now, this guy has reached out, given tons of free value to me. He's been on top of it. He hasn't asked for anything in return. So at this point now, right, like I feel kind of indebted to him, right? So I gave him some feedback on it. He shared his feedback. And then I said to him, "Is this something that you offer?" Right? He added so much value that now I feel like I have to at least inquire about his services. So, as part of our offer, we offer 1 million views in 90 days, whatever. And then, he gave some feedback on kind of the notes I gave to my producer on actually the thumbnail. He gave a really great take on, "Hey, I think what your producer said is cool, but real quickly, the first one is too long. And I found the shorter and simpler, the better." So he received the feedback. He was respectful about it. And he said, "Hey, based on my experience, this is what I think. That being said, if you still really want this to be done, let me know. We'd be happy to do it, right? Most people aren't like that. Most people either A, will just do what you ask them, or B, they'll complain about it, right? This guy did neither of those. He actually did the third route, which is the route that almost no one takes, which is, hey, this is what I think. Again, this is based off my experience. I think you should rock with what I gave you. But if you want to test it or if you want me to do that for you, just let me know. So I go, hey, trust your judgment. Thank you. And then my producer was so impressed with this guy that he said, I'd love to introduce him. I'd love to get an introduction to him. I can probably pass him some paid work. So this guy, not only did he, get my kind of blessing and my kind of insight and input into this guy is someone that I might personally hire. He also, from our podcast producer that podcast produces other people's stuff, he might not give him work, right? So this was, he killed multiple birds with one stone type of a thing. So I introduced them. So, and then at this point, I'm like, all right, where can I learn more about your offers? He sent me here. And then on top of that, he goes, by the way, I noticed there's some low hanging fruit that you could do to improve your SEO. He made this document, and this document had a really great Loom video explaining it, had a really clear kind of layout of exactly what I need to do. He gave me content to fill in for that video that he made a thumbnail for. So again, this guy's just over delivered so much that, again, the more that you feel indebted to him, if I ever plan on hiring someone on YouTube, this is my guy, right? He's made such an impression on me. I'm actually making this video now about him. I've told a couple of friends about him. I don't do a whole lot on YouTube just yet, so that's why the only reason I haven't hired him, I only do one video a week, so I don't know if that's really worth it. But as soon as I start taking video more serious, both short form and long form, you better believe that this is the guy I'm going to go to. He has my trust. He has the goodwill. He's proven his expertise. And again, so he said, let me know if you have any questions. And then he also then went above and beyond without me asking. He made a clip from the episode. He made a short form clip. And then he followed up again saying, hey, send me the link. I'll make another thumbnail. So really long-winded. The point of this message is this is exactly how you do your outreach. You can find, 3, 5, 10 people that you really want to work with, and you can really go deep with them. The likelihood that you're going to get someone to convert or get an introduction from them or get a testimonial from them is extremely high. So follow what this guy did. Even go give him a follow. You can see his name up here, Steven. I might butcher his last name, but Batterina. I actually even started following him back. I was not following him prior, but I followed him back. He even commented on my YouTube videos saying, like, this is a great episode. So just find ways to be truly helpful. And I promise you, it's going to pay back tenfold. So do this. Let me know if this was helpful. And thank you guys for watching this.